Alright, so what we're going to have is a checkerboard, and you can generate one of these checkerboards in Maya. I would highly suggest using Photoshop to do it, but for right now I'm just going to show you a quick and dirty way to actually make this. So under here we have our hypershade window, and in our hypershade we have checkers. So I'll make a Lambert that has middle mouse button click and drag checkers attached to default. And then what I can do is go to the checker, which is, this is a texture, double click on it, and it will bring up this attribute editor. And in here I can go to place 2D texture, and when it says repeat UVs, I'm going to repeat this like 8 times, so double 4. I like using very small checkers. They tell me a lot more about the object than having really big checkers. Alright, let's attach the checker, the material known as checker. Middle mouse button, click and drag it to the box. See, now the only thing I don't like about it generated in Maya, it has this look to it, and the only way to fix that is go to high quality rendering, okay, which fixes it right up. But had I generated this texture within Photoshop, I wouldn't have had to use high quality rendering. You can also, I think, use viewport rendering 2.0 if you want to try that out. Some cards are not supported by it, but in most cases in the year 2013 most are, and it's a little faster. Okay, so let's look at this again. Let's go to UV texture editor and kind of follow the basics that we've been looking at. In this case, I'll take a planar map of this. Well, we can obviously see that the squares on this object are very non-squared or non-uniformed. So this tells me right away that it needs to be unfolded. If I go like this and unfold it just the way I did before by grabbing the edges and then doing a cut and then grabbing the UVs and unfolding them, I can instantly see that the squares look a lot better. But you'll see a lot of this going on. See where this one kind of dead ends to this one, and really they're not kind of blending in too well. So these are showing me that there are seams in that area. I could have to try to stay away from those areas. But this quick and dirty method really does tell you, like on a huge inorganic object, where your seams are very quickly. It also shows you if your texture is uniformed on that object. So in this case, a cube is pretty easy to uniform, but something a little bit more complex is not. So let's grab our UVs and do a layout. And by going to layout, look at that. Now they're perfectly uniformed. I mean, like, you go around, the only thing that will give it away is this. You can see that this black one is attached to a black one, whereas this black one is attached to a white one. So this is telling me that there's a seam in that area. So when students first start out with doing textures, I would highly suggest using the checkerboard, getting used to it, because when it comes down to other shapes, I'll just pick on something really complex here without getting too much into it. The torus is the only other piece of legitimate geometry that's all quads. So what we can do here is, let's go into the top view of this and let's do a planar mapping. Great, planar mapping. Okay, let's apply the checkers to it. Jump back into the window. This object does have UVs now. They are looking like a donut. And middle mouse button, click and drag. So you can see that the checkers look very well from the top view, but then if you look at the side view, it's pretty awful. So in this case, I can double click the edge and then cut it, Over here, I would also have to grab an edge in the inside, cut it, and what I have now is two shells. So if I click one UV, control right click to shell, I can hit W and move it off to the side. Alright, so in this case I could take this donut and unfold it, and I get something that looks like this, which really has what? Overlapping UVs, which is not really good at all. Okay, well, I could choose to maybe just unfold some of it. I can grab these edges and control right click to edge loop, control right click to UV, and then I can unfold just this part, and now you can see this side looks a lot better on the top. I could do that to the inside too. To edge loop, control right click to UV, and then unfold, and now you can see these look well. But this red one will not unfold until it becomes a positive shell. And that's what I was talking about, positive and negative shells. In this case I have to grab all the UVs and flip them either in X or Y, it doesn't really matter, and then I can go about grabbing edges, control right click to shell, whoops, grabbing edges, control right click to edge loop, control right click to UV, and then unfold. And I can choose all these, control right click to edge loop, control right click to UV, and unfold. So finally I have a nicely uniformed texture on a organic object. So you can see that that's a lot more to an organic shape than there is to an inorganic shape. And why I wanted to start out with a cube, because just all that information is about ready to blow your mind, that there's all these other steps involved later on down the road if you go the road of inorganics. Okay, alright, so that's the checkerboard and how to use it correctly on 3D shapes when you're developing UVs. Enjoy.